Welcome to Tuttle Talk, a part of the Real Estate Radio Network. And now, live in studio, offering you a fresh perspective. He's your local real estate and finance expert. He's part of the Common Sense Party, and he's committed to teaching you how to win in any market. Your host, Andy Tuttle.
Good afternoon and welcome to Tuttle Talk here on the Real Estate Radio Network, where we teach you what the rich and the banks do, not what they tell you to do, and where we dispel the misconceptions of financial wellness and the local real estate market and show you how following a few key principles really can free you up to focus on the other important areas of your life, like your friends, your family, and the community. It's the most important hour of radio every Sunday right here, 3 p.m. on 660 a.m. The Answer in the great state of Texas. I am your host, Andy Tuttle. Thank you so much for joining me. I've been in the mortgage business now 12 years, actually September 5th, 2001, and in the wake of September 11th, celebrating really the fact that remembering, memorializing, and then celebrating the fact that it hasn't happened on American soil in the last 12 years. I remember where I was in that business and when I got into the business there just the week before, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. But the deal is on this show, guys, I don't know everything. Man, I really know only 4 things, as my wife says. But I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but I know mortgage. My wife says I know.
Your wife's really smart.
Yeah, she is. That's Gabe Abshire, owner of Utility Concierge. Thanks, Gabe. She is really smart. I'm lucky to have married her. But I know mortgage and how it relates to your finances. I know leadership, according to her too. And I know God, and then I know a miscellaneous category. So that's the one we summed up the little things that I know under a miscellaneous category.
I'd say jazz. You know jazz very well.
I know music. I do love
Yes.
music. It's played in bands. So it falls under miscellaneous.
Yes.
Doesn't get a category all of its own. But the deal is this. Man, I made some mistakes. I've made some mistakes in finances and buying property and getting over leveraged. I didn't follow some of the lessons that I knew were out there because I got cocky. And I went through that. Luckily, I was young enough where I was able to learn from it and rebuild. And I really just I'm here to help you kind of avoid those wherever you're at. And I bring experts on that are experts in their field. They may not know everything else. Some of them are even idiot savants. Gabe Abshire. I don't even know.
Experts in the field. Like that.
You like that one?
Yeah.
So the deal is, it's hard. There's a lot of misinformation out there. In fact, there's a lot of disinformation out there. And a lot of talking heads say a lot of different stuff to support an agenda, and our goal on this show is that you don't have to do that. I've seen very smart people make really stupid mistakes when it comes to home purchasing, refinancing, and building their financial team because there's just too many choices. So I cut through that for you, and the point of this show is to help you cut through that in your own life so you can make intelligent decisions that give you peace of mind about home ownership. Because if you have that, it's everything else is so tied into your home. Whether it's finances, whether it's things that happen with your home, there's so many people employed. 30 people in over 8 companies are involved just in getting your loan closed, your home closed. Home ownership really can be the hub of the wheel for you. And I want to show you that on this show and show you the importance of a financial team. So I hope you listen in every week and get some good tidbits. Please give us feedback. You can do that, whether good or bad, at facebook.com/Tuttle Talk and get in the conversation there. You can catch all past shows on any topics from wealth to business leadership, to your own psychology, to finances, to the local real estate market, all on AndyTuttle.com, and we want to help you there. I'm so nasally this week. It's so weird to hear me talk. I'm getting over getting sick, and it's just weird to hear me in the headphones. So we'll see how it is out there for you.
I will say you sound much better today than you did earlier in the week. You sounded like death.
Hello, Gabe. Hello, I sound like an old Jewish man. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Hello.
It's like,
we're
get
doing
you
a
some
show
matzo ball
today.
soup, buddy, and get to feeling better.
That's right. No kidding. I had some gribnish from a moil. It was a little chewy. My favorite thing. My favorite thing was old Mike Myers when he used to do the what was the lady's name? The chat
Church lady.
No. That was
That was Dana Carvey.
Yeah, that was Dana Carvey. No, Coffee Talk. Thank you, Dan, our
Coffee
production
Talk
director.
coming in from right field.
Coffee
Nice.
Talk. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling a little verklempt. Talk amongst yourselves. The Holy Roman Empire wasn't holy, wasn't Roman, wasn't an empire. Discuss. Okay, I'm better now. I love that.
Wow, we've got improv on the show today. That's awesome.
I'm hopped up on pain meds and all kinds of weird Dayquil, other drug stuff. So it's wheels off today. Excuse me. So here's the deal. Today on the show, we got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about what the Syrian conflict And the decisions that are coming, that have already happened this week, that are coming in the next few days and weeks, are going to have on the markets here. We're going to talk with Lars again, our premier business coach, also partner in Halo Group Realty. He's going to finish that discussion on the 5 regrets that most people have in their lives and how to make sure that you don't have those 5 regrets in your own life. Then we're going to get with our credit expert from eCredit Advisor, Patrick Dixon, and he's going to talk to us about he's going to dispel some of the myths that are out there about getting your credit score for free online and why that can be actually a major mistake. Also, Britt Morris joins us today. He is the broker and president of Halo Group Realty. He's going to talk to us about why you need a good backup offer in this market and why your friends need to make sure that you shouldn't lose hope with a good backup offer in this market. And then Stacie Adams joins us today about how one DISD public school, we know the DISD rep out there, how one school, and it's nestled in the middle of all these private schools, is not only holding its own, but it's thriving and setting the standard and the model for the rest of DISD. I can't wait to tell you all about that, and she'll also tell you how you can get involved in the fight to lower the obesity rates of our kids, and you can do that by getting involved this month at an event that's coming up, and we'll discuss all of that later in the show. And then we get to one of my favorite segments. I really do love this, and so do a lot of you out there, the More Cool Tech with Brian Moore. He will be in there. He's a super geek. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
He really is like part of my brain. He helps me so much because he's just a perfect match for me. And he's very, very smart. One of the smartest guys I know. And even though he's wrong on so many things, he's still one of the smartest guys I know, only wrong in politics. And he's going to talk to us about some great tech tips later today. Remember, if you have questions or you want to ream Brian for being liberal, then you can call us at 214-736-9696, 214-736-9696. We'll answer your questions and make sure we can help you. Also, if you want to get some of the offerings that we talk about, we have some educational material, tips on how to buy right in this market. We'll have the 5 regrets list. We'll have other offerings for free inspections and things that we offer periodically. And you can get all of that by texting Talk Now to 72727. Talk Now, one word, no spaces, to 72727, and we'll make sure to take care of you, and you'll get access to all those offerings. You know, Gabe, Brian, this week with September 11th, can I tell you something that doesn't make me feel great about myself? But I feel like maybe it's indicative of what's going on in our culture just because there's so many things that happen and serious happening. We had a dump truck roll over a median in 635 earlier this week, and it literally crushed a car and killed 2 people. Yeah. And all these things happen in our backyard. That September 11th, when I woke up on Wednesday morning, it didn't hit me like it has in the past. Do you know what I mean? Like I had to consciously make an effort to remember, and it made me kind of sad. What happened with you guys?
You know, it really didn't hit me until I kind of woke up, and, you know, what we always do is, you know, get moving around and check Facebook, and you see everything on Facebook, and I had some appointments this morning, and really it kind of hit me on the way here, seeing all the flags at half-mast.
Right.
You know, just kind of slapped me in my face.
I bet it did. And I'm glad that happened because we need something to send reminders to us. And it's important that those things happen. And I wish it would have affected me more. I wish that, I hope that it affected you this week. I hope that you do make that conscious effort and make a reminder to not only remember those that sacrifice, and man, still sacrifice in the 10 years in the Iraq War, the Afghanistan War, now those people that are deployed and sitting, you know, in boats off the coast of Syria, you know, that are waiting for orders.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, they're sacrificing. And whatever their reason for getting in the military and whatever political leanings you have, doesn't matter, man. There are people out there that are risking their lives for us to have our freedom here. And I hope you feel blessed to be in this country because with all of its faults, it's a fantastic place to live. Wouldn't you agree?
I would, man. And it really puts things in perspective when you think about that and all our silly problems that we have day to day and how we just, you know, let silly things affect our lives. You know, and we have it so good here, and we need to really appreciate those that have sacrificed their lives for us.
Yep. Our bust is most of the rest of the world's boom.
Yeah. Think back to when 9/11 happened. I was in Austin at the time, working at one of the hospitals there, Seton Medical Center. And I remember that morning when it happened, my friend from Denver, he had been living with me. He was driving back to Denver to move back there. And my other friend in Denver called me up, woke me up in the morning, said, hey, man, you need to turn on the news. This is huge. And so I turned on the TV, and of course, it's on every channel. And at that point, nobody knew what was going on. One plane had hit the tower, the first tower. And while I'm watching, we see the second plane hit. And, everybody remembers what happened from that point on, the terrible scenery that happened, people jumping out and things like that. The first tower collapsing, the second one collapsing. It was terrible. Wound up going to work later that afternoon, and the entire hospital was incredibly somber.
Yeah. Oh man, it was. I remember when I was driving to work, literally on my third or fourth day in the mortgage business, and I was listening to Kid Craddock, and it was they were asking if it was a hoax.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't think it is, and then the second plane hit, and I was like, oh my God. It was just tragic. I mean, everybody, it's like that's our generation's JFK, if you will.
Exactly.
Everybody knows where they were at. Coming up, guys, and again, take a moment, silence here between this break and the next. I know it already happened earlier, but you can't give too many moments of silences when it comes to things like this. So you do that, and then coming up, I'll get to what Syria effects have here on the bond market, what happened this week, what to expect going forward. We'll talk to Patrick Dixon of eCredit Advisor, and then we'll get with Lars Lofstrand to give you that fifth regret and make sure that's not your story. All that next. Welcome back, Dallas. You're listening to Tuttle Talk here on the Real Estate Radio Network. Remember, when you have a question or you want to ask one of us or want to give some feedback, you can call us 214-736-9696, 214-736-9696, and we will help you answer your questions, put you in the right direction, or connect you to the right professional for your needs. Okay, we talked about Syria in the first part. We just kind of teed it up and how that affects our bond markets here. Obviously, there's a lot of unrest going on, period, around the world around this conflict, and what Putin, since obviously Russia backed Syria, what that is going to entail. The speech earlier this week from Bono gave a speech.
I'm sure he gave a speech too.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
Thank you, Britt Morris, President Halo Group Realty, for your 2 cents.
Thank you.
So, yeah, Obama gave a speech this week that kind of refrained from the let's attack deal to, there were a lot of political stuff that happened the last couple of days before that speech, and decided to pull back and say, hey, look, let's try to do, Putin offered to let the UN go in and, make a deal with Assad to see if they could capture all those chemical weapons and basically give them up to the UN's control. But that's a hairy ball of mess we don't have the time to get into during this show, but I was reading some stuff, and the head lady of the UN that's involved with the chemical warfare stuff says, you know how impossible it is to get chemical weapons in peacetime? Wartime is 10 times as tough, and you're going to get mortared by somebody. So it's a very difficult process, and I think I don't trust Putin at all. Of course, nobody does, and I believe he's just trying to buy more time for him to get more military position here. So we'll see what happens. It's very important, and I don't care which way you lean politically, whether you don't trust Obama or do or whatever. This stuff affects the country. Complaining about it's not going to do anything, but getting into some compelling conversations will. And let's get into that in a moment. But right now, how that affects us here with the bond market and with the markets in general is typically there's a flight to quality, which means that the safe haven of bonds, when there's geopolitical unrest or uncertainty out there, they'll run to that. I'll be honest, they didn't run to it very hard this week, which is not a great sign. It just means that even bonds don't feel safe right now. No one knows what to do. And so until we have a solid direction of what's going to happen and what the time frame is, markets just get a little crazy. So just be prepared for that. I will say a couple of things we're watching so that one, mortgage applications were down 13% this week, and refinance applications were down 20%. Here's why that's weird. Rates spiked over a month ago, and the mortgage apps were down just a little bit. All of a sudden this week, down 20%, and purchases were down 3%. Now, that's not a huge deal because August was a great month for purchases.
Correct.
And the big media is not going to talk about this, but this is an indicator we're going to be watching to see if this is a trend over the next month, to see that we're getting a little cool down, because different strategies go in place when you have a little bit of a purchase cool down versus a very, very hot market. And Britt's going to talk about that in the last segment of our show. Since we're in a hot market now, backup offers, how to make sure you have a good one and what the importance of those are. And then, and that's a different strategy than we would have if it was a cooling down market. So we'll keep an eye on all that for you. I want you to know that rates were up about 1/8% this week over last week, but they're still relatively good. I think the average rate was about 4.8%. If you look at FreddieMac.com to get that information, with an average of 0.33% charge in origination. So when you're looking at those things and you're looking at where rates at historically, they're in great shape. And here's what I want to give you guys, going back to those conversations, right? Because it's hard to have good conversations with people, right? Sometimes you feel like you're going to offend somebody. Would you agree?
Agreed.
And it's like, man, if you're not offending somebody, you're probably not sharing an opinion, and you're probably not doing anything that's helping anyone. And so we're past that point of, well, let's placate, let's make sure we play political correctness, right? We say things like, I can't even say it on this radio station, I don't think, but we say the members' body parts on TV. We have half-naked women all over the place, or fully naked women sometime, and we're okay with that, but we can't have a conversation that engages someone because we're going to offend them. We're a race card. Who cares, guys? Our country is at stake. These decisions are important. Here's what you need to do. Before you start spouting off that you know everything, or before you start saying that you're afraid to say anything or want to listen to anybody else, why don't you just find out if you know who your senators are? Let's start there. Let's see if you know who your congressmen are. If I were to ask you that, do you know who your congressman or your district is? So I won't even ask, look, myself, let me tell you, I thought Pete Sessions was my representative here. He's not. He's District 32. They redistricted. Mine is, have you ever heard of this guy, Jeb Harserling or something like that? Henserling, thank you. So I didn't know. So I was like, I got to check myself, right? So you know that you need to know that first. Here's where you go find this out. You can go to govtrack.us, and you can find your local congressman there. That's govtrack.us. So for you, do you guys know who our senators are?
Yeah. Cornyn and Cruz.
Yeah, Cornyn and Cruz. There you go, of course. So, but go to govtrack.us, find out who those people are. And also, here's another thing, guys. Would you please do this? Do not listen to the talking heads' interpretation of the Constitution and what their slant on it is. Go read the Constitution for yourself. It actually doesn't take that long. And go read the Bill of Rights. You can do it online. You can download the app. You can get the book. You can find all of that at archives.org. Archives.org. It's that easy. You can find it there. Read it, and then let's get into a discussion about what we should do. But we got to start with a basis of common information that you need to know. It's the basics. It's the blocking and tackling. Please do that, because these conversations are way more important than what the Kardashians did last night. Okay? All right.
I would also say that Facebook posts are not probably an accurate place to glean this information.
Very good point.
No, everybody on Facebook is an expert, don't you know?
That's right, yes.
It's on the internet.
Please, to every relative in my family, check Snopes.com before sending me some incendiary materials.
That's a great deal. Snopes.com. That's true. Amen to that. Okay, let's get on some other myth conceptions that we need to dispel today with our very own credit expert, Patrick Dixon. Patrick, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Andy. Thanks for having me.
All right.
To be here.
Yeah, man, I'm glad to have you here. I know you've been doing this a long time, and I wanted to talk about a couple of things. One of the things I want to talk about today is two things. One is the internet. So people get their score from the internet all the time, and they bring it to us, and they say, no, my score is a 740, and we pull it, and it's a 680. And they're like, well, it's because you pulled my score. But I'd like you to hear from your mouth. It's like, your score doesn't drop 60 points when you pull your mortgage credit report. That's not how it works. It's that it's a different scoring model. Could you kind of expand on that really quickly?
Absolutely. Well, as far as financing is concerned, you're typically going to have to use one of the third-party credit vendors as far as a home that your mortgage company is using. So, I mean, this will be a little bit much for the end client, but Credco, Crowfactual, Credit Plus, so on and so forth. The online reports aren't really accurate from a scoring perspective. They use what they call Vantage scoring, and their models aren't necessarily congruent to what a mortgage tri-merge can look like. TrueCredit.com is an example. Their model goes from, I believe, a 500 to a 990. So if you pulled credit there, you may have a 750 credit score. Go talk to your mortgage broker. They pull credit, and you have a 580 because the models are completely skewed. And so it's obviously going to be a lot better to be going to your mortgage broker to get an accurate portrayal of what your credit profile looks like as opposed to the online report. The online reports can be beneficial to you just from a trade line perspective, because typically when you pull your credit online, it's going to show you exactly what your credit profile looks like. But there have been cases, there was a story on 60 Minutes not too long ago where you can pull a credit report online and not see everything that's on a mortgage credit report. So essentially that's the difference. The models that they use to score are not accurate. They don't line up. And that's where you're going to see some inconsistencies there. So we recommend getting a mortgage credit report if that's your goal. If you're just trying to see what's on your credit report, the IdentityGuard.com, CreditCheckTotal.com, those are some all right sites to use. Okay,
IdentityGuard.com is a good one. And you said, what is the other one?
We have CreditCheckTotal.com and FreeScore.com. Those are the three that we'll recommend our clients to use. Okay, good. So you can pull that thing, so you can get your trade line information. A trade line is a car or a credit card or anything that you are that's reporting to the credit report. They just call it a trade line. So that is something you can get, and if you want to get your credit improved, you can pull that, and it doesn't cost you anything, right? Isn't that typically? I mean, they all
they'll charge a little bit sometimes.
A lot of the ones that I'm giving you here, they'll charge you $1.
Okay.
To make sure you have a credit card that's working.
Right.
And then if you don't cancel within the allotted time frame, it might be 7 days, 14 days that they give you as a free trial to check out their credit monitoring program.
Gotcha.
Then there would be a fee after that. Most of our clients, as soon as they pull the report, they just call in and cancel if it's not something they want to keep. But we don't advocate one way or another.
Right.
If you want to monitor your credit while you're going through the credit restoration process, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right on. So, no, that's exactly right. It sounds like a good thing, and I know you know very well how that is helpful. So, quickly here in our last minute or so, you had some really good tips about and a good idea to discuss some ways to make sure you're paying your credit cards to get the maximum score.
Absolutely, yeah. Every time we're on the show, we're going to throw out a new tip, and one of them is credit card management. This is for people with bad credit, good credit. It doesn't really matter. We have a partnership with American Family Insurance, and we did free evaluations for a lot of their agents, all of which, for the most part, had great credit, but they weren't maximizing their potential as far as their scores. So every credit card company has a contractual obligation with the credit bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, of when they're going to report your balance and your limit. And that date doesn't necessarily align with the date that your credit card payment is due. So you may look at your statement and it says your payment is due on the 20th of every month. That credit card company is reporting your balance and limit to the bureaus on the 10th of the month, and you wait till the 15th to pay that account down, they're going to be reporting a higher balance, which in turn is going to affect your credit in maybe not a negative way, but not as positive as it possibly could be. So it's good to call your creditors and find out which day of the month that they report. Sometimes they'll modify that date to match up with your payment date, or they'll modify your payment date to match up with the date that they actually report. And that way, there's always an accurate portrayal of where your balance is in comparison to your limit, which largely affects your credit scores. It's
critical, Patrick, and I tell you, especially when you're looking to get a new car loan or a new credit card or getting a home loan, that's very important to make sure that is matched up correctly, because when it's not, you come to us, you're like, oh man, what do you mean I have a 699 credit score? Oh, my balance isn't accurate. I just paid that. Well, then you have to go back and wait a week or sometimes 30 days. We have to dispute that for you or get in some updated information, charge a little bit of money to update that credit report accurately. But if you do what Patrick is saying, you can get that updated automatically when you come to us. And a point, if it's a 699 to a 700 or a 719 to a 720, that could save you an 1/8 or 1/4% on your rate. So it's a major deal. It can save you a ton of money. You got to listen to this. If you need to improve your credit or you want to get some tips on how to do it and you want to do it right, you can text TALK NOW, all one word, to 72727. TALK NOW to 72727. We'll get you connected with Patrick, and we'll make sure that he's helping you to improve your score wherever you're at and manage your credit appropriately so you can save thousands of dollars on the terms of the things that you decide to finance. Patrick, thank you so much for being on the show with us today.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Look forward to the next time.
You got it. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. You're listening to Tuttle Talk here on the Real Estate Radio Network. Coming up, we're going to talk with Stacie Adams. She's going to teach us how to be a ninja and also tell you how to get involved against the fight against obesity in our children. So stay with us. Welcome back, Dallas. You're listening to Tuttle Talk here on the Real Estate Radio Network. Like I told you, we have a great guest for you today. Stacie Adams, she is, and I totally screwed this up earlier, but she is the Director for External Affairs for the Crow Collection of Asian Art.
That's right.
Boom.
Nailed it.
There are 3 art museums down in the Arts District. Did you know this?
I think everybody did.
I did not. I guess that's what makes it a district. I figured there were different types of arts, not necessarily 3 art museums. But Stacie is also a very active member in at the PTA for Withers Elementary, and I cannot wait to tell you why they're setting the bar for DISD schools. Actually, Britt Morris, who's here with us, who is the president of Halo Group Realty, introduced me to Stacie because you, Britt, are also very involved in that community and thought this would be a great opportunity to really promote something that's going really right with DISD schools.
Absolutely. We I know, some of the things that we do at our company, we focus on kind of training people in personal development as well as business stuff. And we focus on 8 areas of life. And one of those happens to be your body or your, physical attributes, not necessarily attributes, but
like mine.
Yeah.
Look at those
like guns. Yeah, exactly. And anyway, we found out that Withers was involved with this 5K, really training up the children and getting them into physical activity, which I know has been kind of a challenge in the States lately. And it's just something that we wanted to get behind, and then partnering, of course, with Remen Mortgage to be able to become sponsors for the event. So it's an exciting thing.
Yeah, I appreciate being involved in it. I think our values align on this a lot. And I know, hey, I'm just having my first kid. But I got to tell you, already the obesity rate and some of the stuff that happens in these schools is like, oh, no, I don't want them walking into that deal because we're going to tell them cookies. We're going to give them crackers and tell them they're cookies. We're just going to lie to them and say celery's candy. I mean, this is just what's going to happen, so I don't understand.
Responsible parenthood.
Hey, look, I haven't read that many books yet. But Stacie, although I could talk with you all day about what I just found out is awesome, that I can be a ninja if I go to the Crow.
We can talk about that later.
We will definitely talk about how I'm going to become
the
a ninja.
class, yeah.
If you want to find out more about the ninja class, you got to talk to Stacie. You can call us 214-736-9696.
Oh, that's not fair.
Also, but what we are here to talk about today is Withers Elementary.
Yes.
And your involvement there. And this is very unique because, honestly, you're in a place where I found out it's nestled in right with all those private schools right near Preston Hollow. And I think people would say, oh, well, of course they're going to do well. They're right there with that money and this and that. But that's not actually the truth. Tell us a little bit about Withers.
Well, Withers is a very unique school in DISD. If you look at Withers, it's a wonderful testimony as to what a community can do when they come together and support their local school. Like you said, we are on North Haven Road. We're in North Dallas. We are on the edge of Preston Hollow. And you might look at that neighborhood and expect that it's a lot of wealthy families, but that's not necessarily true. In fact, if you look at the makeup of our school, the majority of the kids are on a reduced school lunch program. But something really incredible happened about 6 years ago at our school, in that a group of parents got together and said, why are we spending all of our money sending our kids to private school when we have a perfectly good school right here in our community? So they decided to start sending their kids back and take a chance on DISD and really focus in on our school, our principal, our administrator, and create something really special. And they've done that.
I think they definitely have, especially looking at the stats. And I read that in the Dallas Morning News, there's a quote that not only are you holding your own among all of these other schools that are right around you, but you're thriving in that school. And you are doing some really special things. One of those things is kind of your fight against obesity. So tell me what this... what is it? Say no to cookie dough?
Yeah. Yes. I don't know if the kids will want to hear that tagline, but as a PTA, we all try to get together and talk about different things that are affecting our children. And one thing that we all know is that, there's a real crunch on our kids to focus on academics, and we need them to focus on academics. But as a consequence of that, PE and physical education has been minimized to where they're only getting about 45 minutes at the max 3 days a week. And so because of that, they're really not getting the exercise and health education that maybe they need if you look at the obesity epidemic in our country. So as a PTA, we got together and said, what can we do? And we started looking at some of our programs, and our big fall fundraiser is a cookie dough sale. So we thought, what kind of message are we sending our kids? We know we make a lot of money with cookie dough.
Delicious, yummy.
They are. It is delicious.
And cookies just for me.
You know, you can definitely have cookies as part of a healthy lifestyle, but we thought this could be a great opportunity to get the responsibility for fitness out of the classroom and into the community. And so we developed the idea for the Withers Wildcat Prowl 5K, and it's September 28th. And really the idea is to get everyone involved. Not definitely the kids are running, the parents are running, but we want neighbors, we want people everywhere in the community to show that we care about kids and kids' fitness.
Okay, so first of all, now give me the website for where they can go to find out and to register for this event on September 28th. So mark
That's
that down.
right.
September 28th.
Mark it down. It's wildcatprowl5k.org.
No weird spellings of that?
Yeah, well, it's Wildcat Prowl, the number 5, the letter K.org.
Boom.
You can get all your information there. You can learn about the wonderful stories about our sweet little school, and also go ahead and register online.
I think exactly. And if it's only $25 for adults before September 22nd.
That's right.
And $10 for kiddos. And it's that for them, you can do that the day of the race too. They can register. But this is a morning deal. It's going to be a little cooler right then. If you want an excuse just to get out and run and get healthy, do it. If you want to give to a great cause, do it. I don't care why you do it. Just get out there and register and support this, because I tell you what, there's not a lot of other schools doing this nationwide, especially not in DISD, and they are really setting the standard here. And this is something you get behind. This is something, especially if you have kids, that you need to make the extra effort and get out there. It doesn't matter if it's in your district or not. It sets the example. And I tell you what, you do that, you pay attention and learn, this starts to set the trend, and you start to get to critical mass, and another school picks it up, and another school, and all of our kids, my soon-to-be one, first one, not have one yet, are going to be better off for it.
I might add that, you know, a bunch of other schools in DISD have actually kind of piggybacked on and are also participating, elementary schools in the area. And
I'll also add to that, you know, we're really encouraging the schools that are part of the WT White feeder pattern, which is our feeder pattern, to join in with us. In fact, we want them to be part of this so much that we are donating 50% of their registration back to the individual school, as long as they have at least 30 kids register.
Hello.
So it can be your fundraiser at your local school.
Oh, man. If you haven't had an idea for that, or you don't like what's going on with the cookie dough thing, or you do that, you want to do this too, 30 kids sign up.
Yeah.
Half of it goes back to your own school.
Absolutely.
That's an awesome idea. Hey, Britt, isn't your wife helping out somehow?
She is. And you know, I was actually kind of curious, you know, well, what kind of participation are the kids going to have for this? And so she volunteered to be one of the, I guess, coaches, almost to kind of coach the kids after school, because, you know, maybe they haven't run a 5K, or just to make sure they're sort of physically in shape to do it. And I think she's had morning and night sessions, 70 plus kids? I mean, she was
there was over 100 last week.
She was concerned about keeping up with them. I mean, she came home and had to make this whole worksheet to be able to deal with how many were there, because, you know, it's kind of overwhelmed him or whatever. And I know your husband had been coaching as well. But now he has strep throat in the middle of
conveniently in the middle
100 degrees.
Nice. That's what I would do. I'd be like,
I feel a cough coming on.
I want to get the kids sick.
Leaving it all on the table for the kids.
Yeah.
So how can companies get involved with this?
You know, absolutely. You can get involved. Go to wildcatprowl5k.org and you can download a sponsorship packet. We are absolutely looking for sponsors to be part of this special day with us. We already have great companies that are coming in, but definitely, you know, being part of the event is an opportunity. Actually, after the event, we have our big Withers Festival. So it's something our Dad's Club puts on every year. So we already have a built-in audience, because the festival is something we've been doing for many years. So we usually have at least 500 people come out for that. So as a sponsor, I mean, you absolutely are not only going to get the runners, but the many people that are coming just to have a good time.
Cool. Awesome.
So I think, Gabe, are you saying you want to be a sponsor?
Yeah, I just elected a fitness czar for Utility Concierge, so I'll get her tapped into this.
Yes, it's fantastic.
Excellent.
Making good connections all the way around. So speaking of donations and doing that, I wanted you to touch on one thing before we have to let you go here, and I really appreciate you coming by today.
Sure.
This is really important stuff, and it's a lot of fun. But, you know, you have raised, I think you said, over $90,000 under mostly what was under $100 donations. So that's really getting a lot of community involvement, and you are really getting a lot of great teachers at this school, and you're having you're just setting the trend in so many different ways. What are some of the things quickly that you attribute that to?
Thank you so much for asking that question. What you were talking about is we raised over $90,000 to remodel our library this year at our school. And, you look at a public school, we raised over $90,000, and we raised that money in increments of less than $100. So what that is, our kids can't do that alone. It is the community that made that happen. And so, when you're looking at your DISD school and maybe you're thinking, gosh, I don't know if I can trust it, what you need to do is focus in on the individual school, the individual teachers, the principals. I was surprised once I started looking at our school that both of my children's teachers have master's degrees. You maybe make some assumptions, but you really need to challenge yourself to get in there and investigate.
I totally agree with that. Thank you for bringing that up. So the message there is, how do you eat an elephant? Please don't, but how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That bite is your individual school. Focus on them, how you can help them grow. Little programs, inch by inch, right? Life is a cinch, yard by yard. It's very, very hard. So take the small chunk and the small step and do that today and get involved on September 28th.
Yes.
Come run with us. We'll all be there. You can meet Stacie. She's wonderful, and she'll tell you how to be a ninja as well. Bonus, total for
Definitely,
free.
Yes.
You may not be able to find her. Where is she? So, and you can get all the information at Wildcat Prowl 5K, the number 5.org. So go get the information there, register, and be a part of that with us. We hope to see you on September 28th. You can also go to facebook.com/Tuttle Talk. We'll have the links there in case you missed it. Stacie, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much.
Looking forward to a great event with you. Coming up here on Tuttle Talk, we're going to talk to Britt Morris again, this time about the importance of a backup offer in this hot market. You shouldn't lose hope about a backup offer. There are actually some reasons why you should be even more excited to have that backup offer. And then we're going to get to our More Cool Tech with Brian Moore segment. All that next. We're back. Thanks for joining us as always, and welcome back to the show here on Tuttle Talk. All right, Britt Morris, president of Halo Group Realty. You're with us today on our real-time real estate segment, and we have been teeing this up about the importance of having a backup offer in this market. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Okay, great. Well, traditionally, I've never been really a fan of a backup offer. Just to explain what that is essentially you have a buyer and a seller. They've already got a property under contract. You know, they have a legal binding contract. You want to come in and put another second backup legal binding contract on the property. Now, typically in the past, a lot of times the seller will use with the first buyer just that as leverage to not do any repairs or something like that. But what we're seeing now in this marketplace, especially in the 150 to the 300K range, which is still very competitive, you see a lot of multiple offer situations, that type of thing. We're seeing essentially 64% of those contracts that are in a kick-out position, the first one's moving out and moving to the second contract.
64% of the first offers are going away, and the backup offer is getting it. With
a contingency. And there are a couple different reasons for that. I mean, one, the market frenzy. A lot of times you get people when they start submitting 5-6 offers and they know that they've got to come really strong, they end up offering a lot more than really they can either that they can pay, they're qualified to pay for. They, at the end of the day, most of the time want to pay for the house. That starts to settle in after a couple of days, and they say, hey, they use their option to opt out of the contract. Then, boom, second contract's in position.
Right. And would you also say that because of the rate increase, they went up about 1.25 in August, rates did, that is also causing those people that made those offers not qualify anymore for that house?
Absolutely. And that's one of the things on the listing side we're really going, and we're even losing our partner lenders, like for instance Rimmen, to make sure that these people are qualified, because what they could qualify for 6 weeks ago different than what they can do right now.
That's a big deal. And I'll tell you this, a lot of your people that we found this out, that a lot of lenders don't pre-approve their clients. They're out there shopping for a month, 2 months, 3 months in this market. The rates went up and they never got pre-approved. So they make an offer for a house, they get a contract, and they go, oh no, you don't qualify for that. Mm-hmm. And so if they do that, get those backup offers in. Is that the message, Britt?
Absolutely. I mean, it's not something that you traditionally do, but right now, if you're in that kind of price point, that 150 to 300, that's very competitive, I would highly suggest it, because you've got a decent shot of getting in there.
Okay, if you want to find out more about the backup offers, we'll let you talk with Britt. And if you want to find out, especially if you want to get represented and you're not yet, he owns a fantastic, one of the most innovative companies around. And we can connect you with him or a member of his team, 214-736-9696, 214-736-9696, or you can always text Talk Now, all one word, no spaces, to 72727. We'll get you connected with Britt. Okay, last segment of the show. I love this one. More cool tech with Brian Moore. Every week I get surprised. What's my surprise this week?
Well, this week is a little bit more of an editorial piece where you know what?
And we're done.
That's it for today.
All right, folks. See you next week. It's it's about Apple's release of the new iPhones. Back on the 7th, the 10th, Tuesday, they released information on two new iPhone models that they're doing, which is brand new. They've never done two phone models at the same time, plus new discussion about the operating system iOS 7, which is a huge change. So the two new iPhone models, there's a 5C and a 5S.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
It's like the ES350 and the sport version. What are we doing here, Apple? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The iPhone 5C, basically to the public, we call the 5C the 5 cheap. It's an iPhone 5, but it's made out of plastic.
Oh.
Different colors of plastic. You can get green, blue, yellow, pink, white.
Is it Gorilla Plastic?
It's
or is it just plastic?
It's some kind of special one-piece polycarbonate with a lacquer veneer type finish on it to harden it up. It'll be good for the cheaper end
really
market.
I know. I was very surprised by you came back with something there.
I did my research. But basically, for the 16 gig model, it will be offered for $99 with a 2-year contract, which is half the price of a regular iPhone.
Right.
Then they have the iPhone 5S, which is now available in 3 different finishes. 16 gig going for as low as $199 with a 2-year contract.
Oh.
Got a fingerprint scanner and new camera, 2 flashes on it. So
a better camera, because they always have a new camera, but it's never any better.
It is. It's a better camera. I got to say, I'm actually pretty impressed with the camera part.
Okay, because I'm held captive by iPhone because of all the iCloud stuff, and I don't want to move.
Yes. But I highly suggest. I've seen your iPhone. It's time to upgrade.
Oh my gosh!
What do you have, like a 3?
No, I have the 4 with the Siri. I got the S. Come on,
he's got the 4S. So that's
it's timed up.
That's
every other.
That's 2 iPhones ago, man.
Dude,
my Lord,
go to
about to be
Walmart and get it
3.
for $98.
My wife always uses our
fighting
upgrade.
Fighting the system. All right. Well, thank you, Brian, for all your words of wisdom and your editorial piece.
Yes, sir.
This time around. By the way, I don't think you understand what an editorial piece is. We'll have to discuss that because that was definitely not one. But we've got to go. I hope you've enjoyed this hour. I would like to thank Stacie Adams, Britt Morris, Gabe Abshire, Brian Moore, and all of our expert contributors, and of course Dan Bradford, our production director, and all of our friends and family here at 660 AM The Answer. Thank you so much for joining us here at Tuttle Talk, where we're making financial intelligence a priority in the community. Tune in next week and have a great weekend.
You've been listening to Tuttle Talk on 660 AM The Answer. You can reach Andy at 214-736-9696. That's 214-736-9696. Or email him, questions@andytuttle.com. Don't forget to become a fan of his show by going to facebook.com/Tuttle Talk. You can also catch previous shows by going to andytuttle.com.